That's no message for young people. There's no excuse for that. And you think, well, we're going to destroy the planet. We have to do this. We have to demoralize the youth to be ethical. It's like, yeah, really, that's your theory? You're going to demoralize young people to be ethical? That's your theory? You have no idea how many people that's killing.
We already see where the strawman is, because he's not crying over people. He's not saying, oh, how dare they be climate alarmists. He's crying over the idea of trying to demoralize the youth into action.
So this is bizarre, obviously. This whole thing, weeping because people learn that things aren't looking so good in some senses, that it would be immoral to hide everyone from that. Now, I'm with you. We don't want to demoralize people. No, we want to say, hey, these...
Well, we're talking about climate alarmism, though. There's a difference, a huge difference.
I think the way you categorized this before we watched this was 100% accurate. It's like people are commenting on Jordan Peterson crying. I have to comment on it too. My audience wants me to say he's crazy. Okay. So he has to try to like twist and turn this position out, even though it sounds like he understands and even agrees to some extent with what Jordan Peterson's saying. But so he's like, but if I twist it just this right way, then it makes Peterson look crazy or wrong. And so this really comes off as very bad faith to me.
David Pakman does another one of these, everyone hates Jordan Peterson, so I got to dunk on him to suck off my audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he does a video. Jordan Peterson weeps over climate activism, and Jordan Peterson tweets it out. I was speaking of the unacceptable demoralization of young people. I've seen it all over the world, and this cynical dismissal is all you can muster. How utterly pathetic, David Pakman. How do you think endless apocalyptic catastrophizing affects children? You piece... Wow. You piece of shit.
Strong condemnation from Jordan Peterson.
Well, Jordan Peterson didn't throw the "you piece of shit" in there. I did, but everything else was Jordan Peterson.
You know what Pakman's response to this was?
Yeah, I have it right in front of me. What was it?
Yikes!
Yikes! Yikes! Yes. Was there any more back and forth beyond that?
I don't think so. I think that was it. It was just a yikes, and that was about the size of it.
So substantive debate we've got going here between David Pakman and Jordan Peterson. So I thought that since there was some drama involved here, we would watch David Pakman's video and see who's right here. Is it David Pakman or is it Jordan Peterson?
Interesting, yeah, because I haven't seen this video, so I have no.
I haven't either. Look, we are the enlightened centrists here. Okay,
yeah.
We're not here. We're not here to take sides. Jordan Peterson's gonna annihilate him. Watch this shit. I mean, we're totally objective. David Pakman's a fucking piece of shit. You know he is. He's fucking whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what do you think? You think we should watch the video?
Yeah, well, I don't know. This might annoy you for editing purposes, but there's something about Jordan Peterson that I feel like I had to address before we start this.
Okay. Let's hear it. This video is 5 minutes, so it'll only take us an hour.
That's true. Jordan Peterson went off Twitter for a while and then came back, and he was like, it was so much better being off Twitter.
Right.
Like for my mental health and for just my well-being and everything. And I'm like, yes, I agree. But he comes back on Twitter with a take I just got to strong disagree with. Okay. Hard disagree with.
Right.
I don't know if you saw it. So there's Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Right.
I don't know if you want to bring up the picture.
I can't. Stephen
Michael Davis DM'd this.
So Stephen Michael Davis DMs this to us. And he says, all right, would you?
So you guys might.
What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, what exactly? So if you can bring up the picture, I don't know if you think we'll get in trouble for doing it.
The spicy picture? I
mean, not that spicy.
She's wearing a bathing suit.
She's wearing a bathing suit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I brought it up. Here it is.
Okay. So we have this picture. So a woman I've never heard of called Yumi Nu.
Right.
Yumi Nu. she's in the cover of Swimsuit Sports Illustrated, and so obviously people are complaining because they're saying, look, you're what's the word,
you're fat,
propping up people
unhealthy lifestyles.
Yes,
you're promoting unhealthy lifestyles here,
right? Which, I mean, she could stand to lose a few pounds, but
she's not that big. I mean,
no, she's not. I mean, listen, to answer the question, to answer Stephen Michael Davis's question, yes. Okay, it's pretty hot. Okay, she's pretty hot.
Yeah,
Yumi Nu is pretty hot. I'm not gonna mince words on that. Okay,
right.
So
Sitch likes them thick. What are you gonna do?
Listen,
I mean, hey,
she's on the border. Okay, she's on the border, but still good. Okay? Right. So Jordan Peterson responded to this, and he said, "Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that."
What, Jordan?
And I was like,
really?
Jordan, this is your worst take ever.
Jordan comes out hard against the chubby girls.
Hard against the thickies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I wonder how Mrs. Peterson's going to feel if she gains a few pounds.
Listen.
Damn.
There's nothing wrong with the thick. Okay.
All right. So there's a point against Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. So listen, Jordan, you're losing me. I hope you win me back with this video. But.
Yeah. Well, this video is David Pakman dunking on Jordan Peterson. So.
Yes.
Let's see if it's any good. What do you say?
Let's do it.
We have not talked about Jordan Peterson for a while, but he is back on the sort of speaking trail. And our colleague John sent me this clip.
Notice the picture they picked. Jordan Peterson kind of looks like a goof.
Yeah.
Do you think that was deliberate? You think?
I think it was a complete accident. 100%, just a total mistake.
His editor just went to Google and was like, just grab the first picture.
They just typed in Jordan Peterson mid-sentence looking dumb in the Google images, and they just happened to get that first picture. Yeah.
Okay.
From Jordan Peterson at Stanford University a few days ago. This was on, I guess it was a couple weeks ago. This was a sort of an event on classical liberalism. At the Graduate School of Business at Stanford.
Now, why does that get a laugh? Why is he laughing at classical liberalism, Sitch?
Because they think it's like a fake, it's a fake thing. That's what they think.
They think
that's just a code word for like evil right winger or something.
Right. Yeah. Classical liberalism.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Someone on Twitter called us classical liberals, and I was like, I don't think we're classical liberals. I don't know what you mean by that.
What is a classical liberal?
Well, technically, maybe they meant it differently, because technically a classical liberal means you're libertarian.
Really? Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
But so maybe they meant like we're classical liberal, like we're pre-woke liberal or anti-woke liberal. Maybe that's what they meant. But
yeah, I don't want the government to do anything I think the government is going to fuck up, but there are people that think the government. Well, let me rephrase that, because there are things that the government has to do, even though it's going to fuck it up, right? I mean, that's kind of the problem. Yeah. So
that's a better way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to minimize the level of fucking up by the government. So.
University. And I don't even know how to explain this. Jordan Peterson started weeping because he's so upset about climate activism, not climate change. He's not upset because of climate change. He's upset because of climate activism. And he seems unstable, completely unhinged, really seems to have lost it. I'm going to play a couple minutes because you've got to see the lead up. And the lead up is he finds it so upsetting that sometimes people are negative about the outlook of the planet and humanity. And he says that the problem is that people are being, people are getting depressed because of climate activists. Okay, check this out.
Shouldn't even have any children.
That's accurate though, right? I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. People are getting depressed about climate change. They're actually not having kids.
Right, and I'm assuming that's what he's reacting to. There is this contingent of climate doomerism.
Yeah, totally.
Who was it that was criticizing the Kurzgesagt video? because they were coming out like positively saying that we were making positive directions towards climate change.
Well, that was our friend, and that was a socialist thought crime.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, Thought Slime is the real
There you
name.
go.
We have nicknames. We have nicknames for everyone. All of the villains on the channel get a nickname. Thought Crime's nickname is Thought Crime.
But okay. Well, I think it's interesting that, you know, the left has been complaining about the patriarchy and toxic masculinity in one hand. And then the other hand, their favorite insult is that you're an incel. You can't get laid, which is like the epitome of toxic masculinity. And to criticize people like Jordan Peterson for being emotional about issues. Like, they love to criticize Jordan Peterson whenever he cries about anything. And I'm like, shouldn't you be in favor of this? Don't you want men to be more sensitive?
I thought that was the whole point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
Get your cry on.
No. There's no excuse for that. There's zero excuse for that. I saw a professor at an event, something like this. He came out and trumpeted this bloody environmentally friendly house he built. And, you know, fair enough, man. It was a pretty interesting house, but not everybody had the $4 million that it took him to build it. And I'm not criticizing his money even. It's like, he's had some money. Good for him. He built a house. Okay. But then to trumpet that as a moral virtue, well, you're pushing it there. And then he came out to all the kids and he said, you know, my wife and I decided that we were only going to have one child. And I think that's one of the most ethical things we could have possibly done. Ooh. And I would strongly encourage you to do the same. I thought, you son of a bitch. You get up in front of these young people. A lot of these kids were children of first-generation immigrants from China. And he showed all these images.
Stunning commentary from David Pakman on this.
Well, I mean, he's got to let it set up, you know, which is fine. But I don't. So far, I mean,
too much.
I don't see anything wrong with anything Jordan Peterson said at all so far.
No. Yeah. Well, if you buy into the narrative that people should have less kids because of climate change, obviously everything he said is wrong. But
yeah, but even if you think climate change is going to be this catastrophic, like, unless you literally think that we're doomed, okay, that'd be the only thing, you know, that you'd be against having children.
People
Otherwise,
do think that.
Yeah, but I assume David Pakman doesn't think that.
I don't know. I can't wait. I hope he.
I mean, you can think climate change is an issue and still say, like, you can have children. Like, I don't know. Fuck.
Nah, I don't know. We'll see what Pakman says.
Okay.
You know, of these terrible factories in China, these endless rows of sterile mechanism that were subordinating all the Chinese people to this terrible, you know, capitalist machine. And I thought,
if you're still following this, it's about to get really weird.
I don't understand. Half the audience is looking at those.
Why are you laughing at that? That's stellar commentary. That's amazing commentary, Sitch.
Listen, it's about to get weird, all right? Things are about to get weird.
Because we're going to make fun of Jordan Peterson for doing the thing that we want every single male to do, to be able to cry.
Right.
To display his emotions in front of everyone.
These are good things.
Yeah. Yes.
Shouldn't they be happy that the man who is, you know, the evil alt-right dad that is influencing all these young men in the internet, don't you want him to be emotional? You know, I mean, you don't want him to be a fucking pickup artist, right?
Yeah, exactly. A PWA. No, you want him to be. You want him to be real, raw, emotional.
Those factories and thinking that's a hell of a lot better than struggling through the mud under Mao, buddy. And so I don't know where he thought he was, but to come out in front of all those kids and basically tell them that the whole human enterprise is so goddamn corrupt that the best thing they could possibly do is limit their multiplication, and to think of himself as a scholar and an educator, it was just, I did say something, by the way. It was rather uncomfortable, and he stomped off the stage. But that's no message for young people. There's no excuse for that. And you think, well, you know, we're going to destroy the planet. We have to do this. We have to demoralize the youth to be ethical. It's like, yeah, really, that's your theory? You're going to demoralize young people to be ethical? That's your theory? It's like, you should go home and think about that for like a year. And I'm passionate about this, you know, because You have no idea how many people that's killing. You have no idea. I see people everywhere, all over the world. They're so demoralized, especially.
Pakman's just soaking it in here. Look at this.
I know. Well, we already see where the strawman is, because he's not crying over people. He's not saying, "Oh, how dare they be climate alarmists." He's crying over the idea of trying to demoralize the youth into action. And he's saying, "I talked to young people. You know, he's a clinical psychologist. There's so many people that are demoralized that you shouldn't be contributing to this at all, and to do it intentionally because you think it's going to bring about some ethical, positive change is like psychotic."
Yeah, destroying people's well-being. All the left does is talk about people's emotional health and well-being.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't want to take responsibility for this. They're like, you know, you have to be willing to, you know, use someone's preferred pronoun so you don't damage them, their mental health in any way, shape, or form. But you know, if you fuck them up over climate change, oh well, that's no big deal. Like, the hypocrisy is off the charts.
Yeah.
Young people, especially young people with a conscience, because they've been told since they were little that there's nothing to them but corruption and power. It's like, how the hell do you expect them to react?
So this is bizarre, obviously. There's a real difference between young people are told that you are made up of corruption and whatever, and, hey, we have some hard problems that we're facing and they need to be solved. And you might make choice. I mean, there's an entire movement. I think it's called the anti-natalist, which basically says, like, we can't bring people. Everybody should stop reproducing because we are rapidly heading towards a lack of sustainability and on and on and on. Now, I happen to disagree with that. I think the way we solve our problems is actually by reproducing and creating people that are going to solve these problems. That's my view, because I guess I'm more optimistic than pessimistic. But this whole thing, weeping because people learn that things aren't looking so good in some senses, that it would be immoral to hide everyone from that. Now, I'm with you. We don't want to demoralize people. No, we want to say, hey, these...
Well, we're talking about climate alarmism, though. There's a difference, a huge difference.
Well, it's not even so. This is a really, I think the way you categorized this before we watched this was 100% accurate. Where it's like, it's like people are commenting on Jordan Peterson crying. I have to comment on it too. My audience wants me to say he's crazy. Okay, so he has to try to like twist and turn this position out, even though it sounds like he understands and even agrees to some extent with what Jordan Peterson's saying. But so he's like, but if I twist it just this right way, then it makes Peterson look crazy or wrong. And so this really comes off as very bad faith to me.
More disingenuous David Pakman. David, come back to the light.
Yes, come to the light, David. What happened? What happened, David?
I've heard Destiny say many times that he's gone through audience purges. He's like,
yes,
it might be time for another audience purge. Like he's done this multiple times.
Yes.
David just doesn't, he's too afraid of that first audience purge. He's like, maybe I could just hang in there just a little longer. Maybe they'll wake up. Maybe the insanity will end soon. I don't think it's going to end, David. You need to like.
Well, my theory on this is, I think, I'm trying to remember, and I could be totally wrong here. I think before Trump, you know, he had like a radio show. I was on the radio or something. But I don't think his YouTube numbers were very good.
Right.
And then once Trump was president and he started to take more of this, you know, animus of the audience, ironically, like Trump did. If you take this sort of animus of the audience mob approach, I think his numbers start to really explode. And I think he has just been captured by his audience.
Yeah, he got hooked on it.
Which is, well, it's interesting because he would completely fight against this because there are certain issues that his audience yells at him vehemently against. I know because I think if I recall correctly, I think he's pretty pro-Israel. And I think he's anti some woke issues, and he does get a lot of flack from his audience. But this, I don't know. I feel like this is a very bad faith. This is very clickbait.
Yeah. He's just trying to hang in there. He's got employees to support. The mortgage defense.
I mean, it looks. Listen, Adam. That background with the panels and the little
looks very expensive.
The screen, that costs money.
Yeah.
Where's your panel background?
Oh, I have my painting back there. Look, I have ContraPoints right here.
Oh, okay.
Look, doesn't she look good? Look at that.
There you go. There you go.
When she blocked Vosh, I thought I'm gonna paint her picture.
There you should. You should paint her pressing the block button.
Oh yeah, that would be good. That's not ContraPoints. How dare you? How dare you?
You're the one that said it was. Okay.
I was just joking around. That's what everyone thinks it is because they've got ContraPoints on
Natalie
the brain.
on the brain.
Yeah.
I think that's just what you really want in a woman, and you're just afraid to admit it.
Yeah, of course. Doesn't everyone? Come on, David Pakman's talking. You need to pay attention.
Oh, okay.
Look at all these problems humanity has solved. And then here are the problems now facing us, and let's solve them. But I would be crying over how we're destroying the planet, not about how kids might find it upsetting that we're destroying the planet.
What a dick. What a dick. What a dick. He doesn't even take a position on whether or not we are destroying the planet. Is David Pakman a climate alarmist? I assume. We don't know.
100% assume he's...
You think he's a climate alarmist? We have to
I would imagine, yeah.
Let's check his channel. We have to see. We can't end this segment without knowing if David Pakman is a climate alarmist.
That seems very, very backwards. And another one of these really weird, weepy. He seems emotionally dysregulated is what that seems like. And also sort of wrong on the facts. If you can be both at once, which clearly you can.
I mean, it's really hitting that toxic masculinity, you know. How dare
this is terrible commentary.
This is the David.
I want to wait. Who's the guy he was talking about? Because I want to see if we can find that actual conversation.
Climate activists. Okay, check this out.
Shouldn't even have any children. It's like,
I know that's a clip we want to see where he tells them to fuck off on stage. Why isn't that a Jordan Peterson clip?
Oh wait, did we miss it?
There's no excuse for that.
We did.
And the lead up is he thought of climate change.
Did he not play
seems
it?
unsteady. Yes.
He hasn't said it yet. No.
It's like, no. There's no excuse for that. There's zero excuse for that. I saw a professor at
this one.
An event, something like this. He came out and trumpeted this bloody environmentally friendly house he'd built, and you know, fair enough, man. It was a pretty.
Okay, so we don't know the name.
He's not going to throw him under.
Does anyone know? Is there like a clip of this?
Is that clip like
I assume it's got to be here. I do want to watch this. Jordan Peterson. Let me maybe I can find it.
He did a video. David Pakman did a video on Amber Heard cross-examination.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe. Supposedly she got like annihilated.
Yeah.
On
you got that from me.
Oh, I know. I saw like Ricada, Nate, like literally every person was like.
So I found a video on David Pakman's channel. It's called "Climate Change Could End Human Civilization by 2050."
Okay.
Climate change, what we're facing and how to fix it. The left is screwing up climate change. Shock. 97% of climate change consensus debunked. Oh wait, that is David Pakman's show. That's from 4 years ago. 97. Right. This must be clickbait. It must be the opposite. Is it possible for Republicans to care about climate change? That's from 3 months ago. You know what makes it even harder to get Republicans to care about climate change? Dunking on Jordan Peterson over climate change.
Yes.
Yeah, they fall into this ideological trap all the time. You can't, and I didn't bring this up with Kyle, and I wanted to, but we were closing up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do feel, and I hope that we're that there is going to be a larger and larger space for independent content creators that aren't overtly partisan, because if you want to deal with problems like climate change or, you know, whatever you want to deal with, what do right-wingers want to deal with? Tax cuts?
Inflation and tax cuts and social degeneracy.
Okay. If you want to deal with social degeneracy, you have to there has to be coalition building. You have to build a space that, you know, reasonable people can agree and build a coalition together. Right now, we're in a position where, you know, if you vote with a Republican, you're a Nazi. If you vote with a Democrat, you're a groomer socialist.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get out of that mindset. We really do. And hopefully a space is opening up where we can.
I hope so.
Is it possible for, I'll watch this later, but Fox News furious that Americans believe in climate change. That's from 2 years ago. So a lot of this is climate change forum goes horribly wrong for Joe Biden. What? Really? I had no idea. Fact
I can't find
and
this.
fiction, the impact of climate change. Which policies would actually curb climate? So climate change is a regular feature on.
Which is fine. I mean, it's just
We've never done anything on climate change.
no.
You're all fucked, and I don't care. Have as many kids as you want. Like, why would you want? If you're fucked, why wouldn't you want to have 10 kids? Like, you'd want 10 kids to help you. I mean, you're going to be basically.
Well, because their argument is that that each child is another human who's creating more CO2.
Yeah, but you
That's their
need,
argument.
first of all, if he says in this video for climate change could end human civilization.
Right.
If human civilization has ended, having 10 kids to protect your stuff is probably a good survival strategy.
That's true. You need a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, you need protectors to watch your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. These one kid people are not, they're going to basically be food.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, do you want to move on to something else, or did you find it?
Well, I was annoyed because I wanted to find the thing he's talking about. And I couldn't find it. I can't find it yet.
I look forward to our Sunday show. I look forward to our Tuesday streams. I almost look forward to the Tuesday streams even more because it's so chill. I feel like David Pakman may be in a creator rut where he feels like, oh, this is really a job and I don't like enjoy it. He doesn't seem to be enjoying this. He's like, I got a dunk on Jordan Peterson today, but it's not really something I want to do.
It's hard to tell because that's always sort of like his weird
if you're the prime
affect is that way. So that just could just be David Pakman being David Pakman.
Okay. Well, I responded when he said yikes.
What did you say?
I said, you're a stupid piece of shit.
Did you really?
No, I did. I didn't respond. I didn't respond.
Okay.
Come on. I try to be good. I try to be cool. Look, I have a lot of left-wing people that follow me, okay? I don't want them to lose their minds.
Okay.
The right how come the right-wing people I have no fear of right-wing people losing their minds. I only have fear of left-wing people losing
I don't know. What do you mean? They lose their minds all the time. I think they're more forgiving.
Right. I guess they do have
the
forgiveness is embedded in their
I think it's
system.
I don't think it's I think that's part of it. I think it's mostly just because the mainstream has been so captured by the left that it sort of makes it so that they feel like, well, I don't have to take this. I can go anywhere else, you know?
Right.
Where obviously the right doesn't have that option because they don't have the cultural capture that the left has.
I can't believe unemployment is down to 3.6%. That's
interesting.
Yeah.
I was curious to see if Peterson said anything after the part.
Yeah, we'll go hit it up.
No excuse for that. There's zero excuse for that. I saw a professor at an event, something like, they had the $4 million that you. Well, I encourage you to do the same. I thought, you son of a bitch. You get up in front of these young people. A lot of these kids were children of first-generation immigrants from China. And he showed all these images, you know, of these terrible factories in China, these endless rows of sterile mechanism that were subordinating all the Chinese people to this terrible, you know, capitalist machine. And I thought, you don't understand. Half the audience is looking at those factories and thinking, that's a hell of a lot better than struggling through the mud under Mao, buddy. And so,
buddy.
I don't know where he thought he was, but to come out in front of all those kids and basically tell them that the whole human enterprise is so goddamn corrupt that the best thing they could possibly do is limit their multiplication, and to think of himself as a scholar and an educator, it was just, I did say something, by the way. It was rather uncomfortable, and he stomped off the stage. But that's no message for young people. There's no excuse for that. And you think, well, you know, we're going to...
Especially Chinese who had the one-child policy forever, and then they come over here, they finally immigrate out of that system, and
he's like, no, go back.
Yeah, this asshole's like, yeah, by the way, we have a one-child policy here. It's just socially enforced.
Right.
What a dick.
To destroy the planet, we have to do this. We have to demoralize the youth to be ethical. It's like, yeah, really, that's your theory? You're going to demoralize young people to be ethical? That's your theory? It's like, you should go home and think about that for like a year. And I'm passionate about this, you know, because you have no idea how many people that's killing. You have no idea. I see people everywhere, all over the world. They're so demoralized, especially young people with a conscience, because they've been told since they were little that there's nothing to them but corruption and power. It's like, how the hell do you expect them to react? You know, well, I shouldn't do anything then, you know.
That's a terrible thing, because it is attacking the people who are the most empathetic. Because the people who don't give a fuck, it's not going to make any impression on anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hard.
And worse than that, it's penalizing empathy, which is always
a
danger.
Dr. Jordan Peterson on what was the phrase? The divine sovereign individual. The divine sovereign individual. Thank you.
Oh, okay, that was the end.
Uncommon knowledge, the Hoover Institution. And
well, if anyone knows what, anyone has that clip or knows what he's talking about with that interaction, send it to us, because I would really love to see that.
Yeah. That's liberalism right there, the divine sovereign individual. That's why they hate fucking individualism. I don't understand it. You can't come out and say, listen, I'm dear gender, and I want you to use these pronouns with me, and be against individualism. That makes absolutely no sense at all. How does that make any sense, Sitch?
It makes a lot of sense. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, you've carved out a gender that is completely individualistic. You're an individual.
It's terrible.
So many of these people, and there's more. I saw like another video where someone was saying, I think it was a talk with Destiny, where they were saying that there are a lot of people. This person is a trans woman and is chapped because there are a lot of people who don't view transitioning as the goal. They view as the endpoint being identified as a trans person.
Right.
And they're like very upset about this, that there's a lot of people that they want to be special. They want to be an individual.
Well, yeah, and that was what was so bizarre about the clip of that lady, or the trans woman that we covered last week. That was so bizarre, where she was upset that she was being identified as a cis woman. Yeah. It's just like, what?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. What's happening here?
How do they not recognize that as individualism?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, in the same breath, they'll shit on individualism. They'll be like, I want to be, I want to make up my own gender.
But it's like hyper. Well, it's not even really, I kind of disagree with you. I don't think it is individualism.
Right.
It's like a distorted hyper individualism.
Well,
I mean, it's like trying to say I'm so fucking, but it's sort of a contradiction, because, and this is why I'm not on board with a lot of the non-binary stuff, because it isn't, part of part of the non-binary argument is they say, oh, this is, I'm just being an individual, Sitch. It's not anti-liberal. I'm just being an individual. How is me crafting 1,000 different genders being anti-individual? And my response to that is, because being an individual doesn't mean that you get a participation ribbon for being fucking special. Okay?
Right.
That's not what being an individual means. Being an individual means, to me and to the concept of liberalism, it means saying, listen, I don't give a fuck about your biological identifiers. Okay? I'm not going to judge you for being a man or a woman or black or white or anything. I'm going to judge you by the content of your characters, by your behavior, by your ideas, etc. That's what it means to treat people as individuals. And so, like, wanting to construct some magical special gender for yourself just because it's unique, that's, to me, that's anti-individualism, because it has nothing to do with who you are or your thoughts, your behaviors, your ideas. It's you trying to get a participation ribbon for existing.
Right. That's an interesting perspective.
That your sexual orientation, your quote unquote gender identity, these should be like the least interesting parts of your personality.
Right. Yeah. I think people turn to that stuff just because it's easier, though.
Well, because it is. It is. Yeah. Being queer is not a substitution for being interesting.
Yeah. But it's a lot easier, you got to admit.
Well, but that's the way it's used. Right now, being queer is used, and I'm using the term queer broadly. Being queer is used as like a clique. It's like being goth and hanging out with other goth kids, or being, a rocker, or hang out with the rocker kids, or a skater, or whatever. That's what it is. It's an aesthetic clique that for some reason has gained prominence. Well, not for some reason, I know why, but has unfortunately gained prominence as being a protected class when it never should have been.
Yeah. You got any closing thoughts on David Pakman?
No, I mean, I wish he wouldn't be bad faith about the whole thing, but
if he came on our show, would we ask him to define a woman?
Yes. That would be a funny question. Can you define a woman?
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.